Welcome back, friends. This is my video Stump Hollow. As you can see from my little drawing there, I made a house inside a tree stump. And I built it mostly from trash, like this. So anytime I start one of these builds, I dip into my hordes of plastic trash. And in this case, I selected a tomato container lid, like for grape tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes? It's cherry. That's really important. And then I used a Taco Bell cup to go on top of that, and I cut the ridges off, and I had to do some little slits to get it to fit, but I think it's gonna give me the basic shape that I need. And here I am just figuring out doors and windows. And then of course I'm gonna sand it up so that I can paint it up and stick stuff to it and it will stick. And this little former smoothie container is going to be a dormer. I wanted to put a dormer on the side of this guy, so it's kind of bubbly, but we'll see what it looks like. So here, I thought I would try using corrugated cardboard as like kind of the base material for the tree bark. And it's actually worked really well. So I used this cardboard as like the foundation kind of, and then I do toilet paper mache, that's hard to say, toilet paper mache over the top of it. Here I'm just cutting out the windows. So you'll see, I think this worked really well. I really liked how the texture turned out. So this turned out to be like a pretty sweet way to make a giant tree stump from trash. And I'm going to put a roof right there, so I left myself some flaps. We'll get back to that. I am priming the inside now. When you use plastic like that, you have to think about blocking access to it, so you gotta prime sometimes when you might not otherwise think to. But this is just watered down PVA, and I stuck some toilet paper onto it and kind of like found the ridges, but I realized the ridges were super uniform, so I decided to like slash it up so that I would have, so that, I don't know, I thought it would make for a better base for my texture, and it did. So I tried it again, and basically this is how I've made water before, or like a, you know, water where you want ripples. So I do 3 layers of toilet paper, and with PVA, like watered down PVA in between. When you get to the 3rd layer, you have just like this mush that you can work with. So you'll see you can kind of, like what I'm doing there, I'm just kind of pushing the ridges around to make like more of an interesting, not so uniform, not so straight, ridgy texture. And I did that for the whole thing. And like I said, it turned out really well. I thought it looked a lot like tree bark. So here I'm just figuring out where my little dormer is going to go. I went a little off to the side. And since it's going to be a window, I got to get rid of the window behind the window. And now I'm going to work on that tiny little roof. This is a black walnut tree that is in our backyard, and it donated all these sticks to me last year. So that's what I'm using. I'm going to use these little sticks, I'm going to cut them up and use them along the ridges to make this little roof a little more interesting. But first I'm doing some supports from a stick. Standard old stick. I use a lot of natural stuff in this build. Trash and natural stuff. Feels nice. So there, it kind of looks like a tiki house, but we'll get past that at some point. Now I'm just using air dry clay to make the window trim. And my clay was a little dry, so it was a little chunky. I would say I didn't put forth a ton of effort there. I'm gonna blame the animals. Like, this is like something constructed by animals, and I think that they probably would not have like perfect clay work either. So I allowed myself to make something pretty rough and chunky. And that's my excuse. Animals. It's a little speciesist, I'm aware. But they don't have opposable thumbs like I do. So I gotta make this realistic, which means, like, making it kind of crappy. And now I'm making some furniture to go into this tiny stump house. This is just polymer clay. I'm making one of those princess beds, like the 4-poster kind of princess bed, and I make a little table. Pretty basic stuff. I have some furniture left over from my Stardew build, so I also included some little things for my Stardew build, which you might recognize if you saw that video. And now I'm making some little mushrooms to go outside. And pumpkins to go outside because 'tis the season for pumpkins. These are all really easy little clay things you can make. Don't take much time, you can crank a lot of them out pretty quickly. And they're super cute when you're done. Just had to stick a stem in the top. And I'm showing you, I got a tiny little leaf cutter, and I made these little ferns, and I also made some little flowers that I'm going to use on the outside of the house. And I chose like the weirdest way to make the mushrooms. I attached the stems with PVA. I should have just used super glue, but I'm weird. And there's a little bed, and here's a table, and here's a chair that is entirely too small, but I thought I'd show you because it's funny. I had to make different chairs. Sometimes I just screw up on the scale. Don't think it through. So I'm getting it painted up. It took so many coats just to get to that dark brown. I probably should have started with a brown primer rather than black, but I don't know. It took forever. And now this is the base. It's just foam core, and I'm carving in some cobblestone. And I use a pencil because I thought my grout lines weren't like quite deep enough, so I'm just going back through and making them a little more pronounced. And then you just paint the rocks all different colors, and you paint your grout, and it looks nice. I want to live in this little house. I think it turned out so cute. You guys, I hope you like it. I'm excited just watching this. I want to move in. So I'm doing some wallpapering, which also makes it feel like I am gonna move in, because like you totally wallpaper a house when you're moving in. But this is just watered down PVA again, and some scrapbook paper, and I cut around where the windows are. And I just did these little, you know, it's like a round thing, so it's hard to get it to go in there. So I just did these little pieces of it so it would go around the round interior, okay? And then I covered it with some Mod Podge on the inside to seal it. And I used EVA foam for the trim. This is really fun and it's really easy. I think it looks pretty good. I paint it all. Wood would be much harder, and you can't get around these contours, so I use EVA foam for trim pretty frequently. And I cut off the roof. And I will show you how fun it is to shine light through it. It's like a little party inside. So there it is, all painted up. And I'm working on the roof now. This is a lid from like a bulk food container. And I thought it kind of already looked like roof rafters, like a good roof support. So I just used 2 of these, and then I had roofing. That was super easy. I decided they were a little plain, so I did go ahead and do some stained glass, which is also really easy. I mean, it's just like a fun little thing to do. Why have a boring window when you can have a stained glass window? So I'm getting everything moved in. There's the princess bed again. This is just toilet paper, meant to serve as like the curtains that go around the bed. I totally want one of these beds someday. I've never had one. I've never experienced like shutting myself in to my bed chamber or whatever. It's not what it is, but you know what I mean. Like I totally want this bed, but like in people size. So cute. Back to my roof. And there's Megan. She's in her shoe. Oh, and Brownie's up top. We call this the double decker when there's one cat down below and one cat up above. Megan doesn't really fit in her shoe sometimes. She's spilling out of it. She's a big kitty. I think she left me alone for this whole build. It's weird. So here I'm just putting a root on the side of this guy so that it doesn't look quite so straight uppy and downy. And I just used foil and air dry clay and then kind of shaped it to look like the rest of the tree. And then glued it on. And I put some flocking over those ugly seams, which is a trick. This is just dollar store lacy crochet stuff, and I looked at it and thought that looks like curtains in an old lady house. And so I made some curtain rods, and I love how those turned out. I think it's super cute. And now for a base. Once again, just water down PVA, and I'm gonna throw some sand over this guy to get like a base layer of base. Base layer of base. Base of base. Base of base. And this base is just foam core, and that's a coffee can lid. So that's why it's yellow on the bottom. I think plastic lids work pretty good to hold the foam core, so I use that as a base pretty frequently. And this is just like a tea that I got for $1. I got a ton of tea for $1. I don't know why it has all these like twigs in it. I'm sure that's a sign of a good tea, but it was only $1, so can't go wrong there. I think it kind of looks like leaf debris. So I'm just like going through all my little materials here. I'm gonna use some peppercorn that's like mushed up, and I've got jute from like in various colors that I've painted. That's what that chopped up stuff is. That right there is jute. And I'm kind of just layering stuff on. I don't really have a plan here per se. That's chai tea. This actually made my whole diorama smell really good. I like how chai tea smells. It was like nice and spicy. And I'm throwing some watered down PVA on top just to kind of glue things down. With mixed results. I got really distracted by like the bubbles that were coming out of this thing. Good footage there. So I made these tiny mushrooms. Now I'm just painting them up. I put these all around the outside of the house, obviously. I don't know why they would go on the inside, but they're really cute. And I built this little crate. Actually, as part of my Stardew build, it was going to be the shipping bin, but it was like totally wrong size. So I ended up using it here. Yay! And I made a little clay oven. I'm so sorry it's out of focus and you can't see it. There's my little table. That's a pickling jar from my Stardew build. I got a pumpkin going in. Here's my beautiful princess bed. And I got a little chest from Stardew. And a little wood container. And then I built some different stools that are actually the right size. And then there's a basket, which I ended up putting a little ball of yarn into to go with the giant knitting needles. And then I built a little door to go on the front. I glued it there and then I had to rip it off because it conflicted with the table. So then I had to glue it on the other side. And this is just foliage. I say foliage. I say it like how it's spelled. It's reindeer moss, technically. And I'm putting in the little flowers. I wanted all of my windowsills to have like big places where I could put all these like moss and flowers so it would look extra woodsy. And I built a tiny mailbox. It's kind of hard to see there. These are mushrooms. They're like those little flat layery ones. They kind of look like dumplings or like maybe an empanada or something. But I painted them later and they look really nice. But I didn't include them in the video. So you'll just have to use your imagination. This part was really fun. This is always like one of my favorite parts. You do all this work and then you get to finally piece it together and you start to see what the end result's gonna look like. I loved how these little clay pieces looked on here. Like, they're freaking adorable. And my big slab of bark that I thought I would use for roofing, I tried to just like break it in the ways that I wanted it to break, but that didn't work. So I kind of just like exploded this piece into a million pieces and it ended up okay. I basically just treated it like shingles. So I have one side that is one big shingle and then I had to kind of piece together the shingles on the other side, but that's okay. You gotta do a ridge cap too. This is not at all waterproof. And I made this drawing, it's pretty weird. I feel like the roof looks like crazy hair, but otherwise I like how it turned out. I'm not like an excellent watercolorer, but I'm practicing. This one turned out okay. Sometimes it's just so wet. I don't know. Need better water management skills. And now I just thought that the house needed some more life, so I put in some ghosts, which I realize are not alive, but they're really fun to make out of clay. They're little and fast, and this was like the method that I came up with. So you just like make a lump and then you like put a sheet over it, which is all a ghost really is, if you forget about like the, you know, wandering soul business. And then you just like dimple in some little eyes, and this one gets to have arms. He's doing a pose. Isn't that fun? This is glow-in-the-dark clay. I'll show you what it looks like later. Right now, obviously, it just looks like a weird color, but it's pretty cool under UV. You'll see. And then because I had glow-in-the-dark clay, I thought, well, I should make a Glowda, which is a glow-in-the-dark Yoda, if you are not familiar. And this is like a Play-Doh form from I don't know when. My boyfriend had it when he was a kid, so pretty old. No offense, boyfriend. This was awesome. I will tell you, like, I made an awesome little Glowda out of this thing, and I was so happy with it. It's really detailed. It's pretty crazy, like, when you think it was for Play-Doh. So yeah, those guys, I don't have a blacklight, like a serious blacklight to show you with, but they're pretty awesome. Now I'm just giving them some eyes. So that's it, you guys. Another build. I love how this one turned out. I think it's super cute. You can see the mailbox with the little letters sticking out of it. I don't know that Glowda would want to live in this house. Like, it's not really him, but that's alright. He's just hanging out. I left it so where you could take the top off because I really like to be able to see the inside. It makes it a little more precarious, but I just nested some LED lights in there, and I have to take out the top to turn the lights on, so it's staying disconnected. There's the view. Ah, it's so cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the greatest. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.